Bright Cutie. Every student matters.
Morning. In the present video, I will be discussing with you chapter 3 of your 11th standard book, education book. And the topic is informal education. So in my previous video, I had introduced you the different types of education. I had also taken another video with you where I had discussed with you the formal education and the agencies which are under it. In this present video, I will be introducing you in detail, a little deeper into what is informal education. All right. So when we talk about informal education, it's important to understand that it is an education which is received from agencies which are different than schools and colleges. So the normal education that we have an understanding about, the education which essentially comes from institutions like schools and colleges, this is different. Informal education is different than the education which is normally imparted in schools and colleges, because the one which is imparted in schools and colleges, that is known as formal education. Informal education, when we talk about, this is an education which is neither deliberate, so it's not a conscious attempt which is there. Unconsciously, when we're talking, when we're listening to other people, when we're observing, our life experiences also, they teach us. So it's not only experiences which our parents or our siblings have had. It's not only about the experiences which our best friend, peers, they have had, but it's also about the experiences that we in our lives are having every day. So it's a deliberate education which is happening. It's not at all planned in nature. Anything that we observe during the day, so when we observe animals, when we observe, let's say, squirrels, and the way they run, and the way the ants, they collect food, etc., this is all education which is happening. So anything that we observe, that is guiding us a lot, that is telling us a lot, that is teaching us a lot about ourselves, about our surroundings, about a physical environment, about a social environment. So it's incidental in nature. It is spontaneous education. So it's not pre-planned that, at this particular hour in the day, we will have this kind of education. It happens throughout the day. It happens forever. There isn't any conscious attempt to learn it. The learning takes place anywhere. It takes place anytime. So be it that you are, in the market, you are in the house, or you are at your friend's place, or at any time of the day or night, this can happen. So it's all about education which is happening through your experiences, through the experiences which are shared by people with you. So it's happening from all of these things. So again, it may take place anywhere. It may take place in the family, when you're interacting, let's say at the dinner table, when the father, when he comes back from home, he tells you what he did during his day. So when he says that, this is the work I did, this is how it is done, that is also informal education. So it happens in the family, at home, can happen in the playground when you're interacting with your peers, in the society. So any social function that you've gone to, some marriage function that you're attending. So when you, let's say, let's take this example of marriage function only. When you go and attend a wedding and you observe that these are the rituals which are happening, so you get to know that, okay, in Hinduism, these are the rituals which are followed during marriage ceremony. That's again an informal education that you're receiving. Or any other common place that you are visiting, could be a place of worship, could be a club, a nature club, a sports club, etc. So any experience which has educative influence on the person's mind, that is education, that is learning for a person. Anything that he was not aware of earlier, but now he is. So he will take care of it. He will keep it in mind. He has, grasped it, or he has, let's say, internalized it. That becomes a learning experience for the person. So when we talk about any time frame for this kind of education, no, there isn't any time frame. It is not at all defined. It's very interesting to observe that there is no textbook for this kind of education. There isn't any set syllabus or curriculum for this kind of education. There is no classroom for this kind of education. It's something which is learned throughout your life. It's a lifelong process, unlike formal education, where you go to a school or a college for certain stipulated duration only, and once that 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, or maybe the first 10 years of your life are over, and then you leave the school, then you move to college sector. So there isn't any specified time limit for this. According to experts, it is a process. That is, informal education is actually a process by which a person imbibes attitudes, good attitude, positive attitudes he learns towards people, towards objects, towards non-living things, towards animals, etc. He learns attitudes, the correct right attitude, open mindset. He learns skills, different skills. Practically, when he does it, he touches things. Let's say it's about pottery, etc. So he learns how it is supposed to be done. So all these things he's learning through the informal process. He develops skills, he cultivates values which are important to exist in a social system, and acquires knowledge without any kind of formal institution, without any kind of formal teacher, that this is your teacher who's going to guide you all the time, or any formal system who is the authorized system, and they will teach you. It's their responsibility to teach you. They will conduct exams, etc. So nothing of that sort. So it's actually a modification of behavior which is occurring, and this modification of behavior is positive in sense. So any changes which are coming in you, they are usually positive changes which are occurring in you, because education, the purpose of education or the purpose of learning is to bring positive changes in your behavior. So modification of behavior which occurs spontaneously without any conscious effort from your end. Okay. Now, towards the end of your chapter, there are some exercises, some questions which are given. There are certain categories of question. You have very short answer type questions. You have short answer type questions. You also have long answer questions. So under the category of short answer type question, you have question number 3, which is, what do you understand by the term informal education? So if you've gone through this video properly, you should be able to answer this question. Topic 4, that is non-formal education. In the previous videos, I had introduced you that there are different types of education. I had informed you that there is a formal education. We also have informal education. And then we had taken a look at them in detail. In this present video, I will be taking non-formal education in detail with you. So when we talk about non-formal education, unlike the informal education that I have taken up in my previous video, this is like formal education. It is organized in nature. It is systematic educational activity which is carried outside the framework of formal school system. So like formal education, this one is also systematic in nature. However, it is carried out outside the framework of formal school system, which means that like schools and colleges, which are the formal institutions for imparting formal education, non-formal education is not imparted in these kind of formal school agencies or formal institutions. Non-formal education provides a particular kind of learning, a specific kind of learning as per the requirements of the target group. So be it somebody from science background, be it somebody from commerce background, or be it somebody from arts background. So depending upon the needs of a target group, it provides the specific kind of learning. Now there is a very important question: why at all there is a need for non-formal education? So like we have people who are taking informal education, that is people who do not go to school at all, and they take their education from their work sphere, or from their home. Or there are people who go to schools and colleges for education. Why is there a need for non-formal type of education? Now, the answer to this question is that at times in some places, in some regions, there is non-availability of schools. So at times there is not even the availability of schools. At times there is non-availability of good schools, or you could say affordable schools for the children. Second possible reason is that sometimes, children, they drop out of schools because of certain reasons, because of the financial conditions at home, because of certain, situations. If there is not a conducive environment at home, could be because of single parenting. They're not able to cope up with that, some kind of clash between the parents, or some other situation, maybe loss of a loved one, loss of father, etc. Because of certain reason they have to drop out of school. So in that case, non-formal education actually is a blessing in disguise for these kind of children. They can take their education through this non-formal agency that will be taking up in a while. At times they have to drop out of school, or they do not go into school because of financial reasons, that is poverty. Non-formal education thus creates opportunity for such kind of children who, because of non-availability of schools in their regions, because they had to drop out because of their difficult circumstances, or because of their financial conditions, that is poverty, they could not actually take the benefit of formal type of education. Therefore, non-formal education does give another opportunity to such kind of children to get educated. Okay. So when we talk about non-formal education, it is actually an alternative arrangement, which is very systematic in nature, just the way there is formal type of education. So it's an opportunity of studying privately. So this is a very important term, it's studying privately. You don't really necessarily have to go to the institution to get this kind of education. So it's opportunity of studying privately through postal courses. So you get material through posts. They post you the content which needs to be read, and then based on that, when you go through it, you give exams on it. So content is actually sent or delivered at your place. So postal courses are there, correspondence courses, or through open universities you study privately. So this actually brings an opportunity to earn while you are learning. So you at the same time may be earning, you may be working somewhere, or you may be, maybe you're a housewife and you have your own financial circumstances or your family conditions, and you have the opportunity to learn also side by side. So it gives you a very big opportunity of earning while learning. This also makes possible passing university exams and even earning degrees. So if, because of certain circumstances, you could not enroll into formal schools or colleges, you still get the opportunity of passing university exams and even earning degrees through this kind of non-formal education, which is not possible in case of informal education. That is the kind of education that you get from your peers, siblings, from mass media, from your parents, etc. So when we talk about rules and regulations in this particular type of education, that is your non-formal education, they are minimized. They are there, but they are minimized, keeping in view the needs of the aspirants, of the students for acquiring education. So not that it is not at all there, but yes, they are relatively less as compared to formal setup or formal kind of education. Uh, Moving on to next subtopic, agencies of education. So when we talk about education, what is it actually? Let's first look at that. It's actually a process of transmission of thoughts, positive thoughts, rational thoughts, logical thoughts to students. It's transmission of values, transmission of traditions to students, to young people, transmission of your customs, social norms, transmission of your experiences and what you learn from these experiences. It's also about transmission of knowledge, about the general knowledge of the world. This is to be passed from one generation to the next generation. And when this transmission is happening, we call it that it's education. The person is getting educated. So individual groups, institutions in the process of this transmission are therefore referred to as agencies of education. We have formal agencies of education also, schools, colleges, institutions. We have individual groups also, sections of society, people, parents who act as agencies of education, but they are informal agencies of education. Right. So when we talk about agencies of formal education, like schools, like colleges, they are the ones which run with specific and exclusive purpose for imparting education. So they have a specific aim in their mind. Schools open up for a specific reason. And they also have an exclusive purpose of imparting education, exclusive purpose of holistic development or growth of the student, providing opportunities to the students, providing, co-curricular platforms to the students. So the agencies of formal education have certain specific aims in their mind and some exclusive purpose for imparting education to the students and young minds. The aim and program of work are pre-planned. So in schools and colleges, the aims are very clear, they're predefined. The program, the structure, the layout, what kind of subjects will be taught, all these things are pre-planned in totality. Places where the education will be imparted, the place of the institution, the place of the school, or you can say college, and the time at which we are going to start, we are going to end, for what time we'll have one period or lecture, all these things are fixed in advance by the school authorities or by the college authorities. There is a proper teaching and learning process. When we talk about teaching pedagogies, all this is properly outlined. Teachers, they have meetings, they decide what are the certain parameters on which we will be assessing our students, what criteria we will keep in mind while assessing our students, what, maybe you can say assessment methods we'll give to the students, what kind of exams we'll have for the students. For instance, in this current pandemic situation, a lot of universities and colleges and schools came up with the idea of open book examinations. So that also is taken care of by teachers and school authorities with their consent. It is predetermined that, if there is a challenge like this, how will we go about it? So all these things are pre-planned in advance, and there is a proper teaching and learning process. It's not something which is very haphazard or disorderly in nature. So there are regular examinations which are conducted in schools. You have, either you have semester exams or you have yearly examinations. So when we talk about formal agencies of education, we are basically referring to schools, we are basically referring to colleges, and they have their regular set of examinations, either 6 monthly basis, or there are mid semesters also. And then there are at times, in some schools and colleges, there are continuous interval assessments which happen throughout the semester. So depending upon whatever has been decided by the authorities, there are regular examinations which are conducted. Let's also look at from where did this word school came up. School actually originated from the Greek word skol, which is a place where lecture is delivered. It's delivered to people who want to receive education. So this place is actually a formal place of imparting education. School, therefore, is one of the first formal agencies of education, as it is meant for imparting education to the students, to the young people, or to the learners. School develops many traits of personality. It develops open-mindedness in you. It develops, virtues in you, values in you, positive attitudes in you, and it also helps you to become bright-minded future citizens of the country. So school actually has a lot of role to play in a student's or in a person's life. We can also consider school as a miniature society. So when a student is spending, he goes to school, he's spending a lot of his time, his daytime in school. And if he is in a boarding school, then he spends, the entire day and night also over there. So a lot of time is spent in this institution. Many things are fixed from there. When you interact with the teachers over there, you learn a lot. When you get to know the way the administration functions, you learn a lot. The policies and regulations which are prevalent over there teach you a lot. All these things have so much of influence on you that we can actually term it as a miniature society in itself. Schools therefore help students to grow their skills. Skill set is upgraded with every passing year in the school. Values, morals, values, ethics, all these are taught in school. Personality development because of various methods during the teaching also, and otherwise also while you're interacting with each other in school. With the teacher, you learn a lot and your personality eventually develops. Schools, they give you a lot of things. They give you syllabus to learn. So there is a curriculum, set curriculum is there. They give you opportunities in the form of sports. They give you literary activities to keep you engaged. Then there is a library which enhances your knowledge. There is the facility of providing, drama clubs, etc., where you can actually exercise your expression, communication skills, etc., and improve that. It gives you opportunities and platforms where you can actually sing in front of people and then, um, foster your creative part. Social work, opportunities in the form of community service, national social service, social work is also provided by schools. It also gives you, opportunities in the form of picnics, school picnics, visits to museums, etc., tours, um, knowledge-based tours that is possible in schools. At the same time, you learn a lot in schools in the form of different subjects which are offered in different schools. You get to know about science, you get to know about social sciences, you learn about languages, you learn about mathematics and mathematical operations, you understand computers and their languages. You get to know about technology, which is very important in the current times. You also learn about things such as art and painting. So it's not only about the hard stuff, which is their soft skills like art and painting, also you learn from your school. John Dewey said that school is not to prepare for life, but school is actually life itself. So he actually credited school and said that school holds a lot of importance in your life by saying that it is actually your life. School is called, therefore, temple of learning. So that's something very important to understand. It's your temple of learning. Okay, towards the end of the chapter, you have certain questions in the exercise which is given. Under the category of very short answer questions, you have question number 5, which is name 2 agencies of non-formal education. So this is, you can say, open universities are there, right? Then correspondence education is provided. So these are the agencies of non-formal education. Under the category of short answer question, you have question number 3, which is what do you understand by the term informal education? So that was actually taken up in the previous video. So if you've gone through these videos, you should be able to answer these questions. Thank you. This brings us to an end of this particular topic. This also brings us to an end of this particular video. Thank you.